All right, before we get started, let's all give ourselves a pat on the back. Bit of a strategy I like to use because we like to whenever you're in my container, we like to create some wins. We like to build on momentum, and half the battle's just showing up. Yes, especially when it comes to some tricky, challenging topics like messaging, marketing, talking about your business, talking about creating offers. It can trigger a lot of people. It can be like, I've done this before. I've tried this before. I've tried these strategies, hasn't worked. Anyone else? Show of hands. Anyone been there in the past where it's like, I've tried all this before, hasn't worked. Eda's like, yeah, with a big smile on her face. It is true. It is true that a lot of the time we can study the messaging, the marketing components of business. We can try and execute different strategies, implementation. And when they fall flat, when you don't get the response you want, when there's a little bit of a disappointing outcome, it can reflect on the overall, the overall efforts and the overall theme of, I'm just not good at messaging. I'm just not good at marketing. I'm not good at these things, right? So that can be a bit of a sticking point. But what we're going to do, we're going to keep breathing. So deep breath, everyone. Deep breath. We're all going to be fine. I've got a little in my intensive. I had a rule that while you're learning and while you're executing marketing strategies and while you're doing outreach and while you're growing your business, if at any stage your head falls off, you have to tell me. Because I like to remind people that when they're like, oh my God, I put out this message and oh my God, I'm scared I'm going to fail. I'm scared I'm going to do whatever. And I say, hey, is your head still attached? And they say, yeah. And I say, hey, you still breathing? And they say, yeah. And I'm like, cool. That means you can move forward. You can learn, you can grow, you can expand, you can do different things. You can, in a positive way, you can move forward. So I say no one's head's ever fallen off by studying marketing, studying their messaging, working on their offers, working on their delivery, doing these skills that are so meaningful for business. No one's head's ever fallen off. So if your head does fall off, you have to tell me so then I can't say that anymore, right? Until then, I'm going to continue to say it. Sound good? My internet's been a little bit squirrely sometimes, a little bit unpredictable. What I'll do, hey, Ken, I'll make you co-host. So if I get kicked off, you can continue. But it should be okay. Seems all good now. What I'll do is I'll share my screen and I'll go over a little bit of an introduction in terms of what this is. If some of you have shown up like, I don't know where I am and what I'm doing, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown and a little bit about what to expect. So share my screen here. We can all see this. Yes, the pretty slides I made yesterday. All right. So I'm going to be running regular marketing mastermind calls in the Serving Circle on this link, same day and time each week. So this is replacing the collaborative calls, and there's a reason for that. So why I'm doing this is because this is what business owners need most, yet very few people consistently work on it, right? Some people may be doing marketing, but there's a very big difference between people doing marketing and actually working on it, actually improving the skills, right? So I'm thinking of this analogy because I read a business book, maybe it was even a personal development book a long time ago, and this stuck with me for some reason. Imagine if you're learning how to, you're going to improve your swimming. Like my brother, for example, started doing triathlons and as an adult, and he's like, I'm going to practice my swimming. I'm going to learn how to swim in the ocean. I'm going to get faster by practicing my swimming. Now, most people, when they're learning something new or they're trying to improve in something, they just go swim. They're like, oh, I'll just swim more often. compared to the people who consciously practice. And this is what I read in the book. It's a very big difference between going out and swimming more often compared to someone who's consciously practicing it. It means getting a coach, practicing elements of their form at a time. They might be working on a particular technique each time. They're tracking their progress, right? They're timing their swims, they're timing their laps, they're seeing what works, what doesn't work, trying different strategies, right? Have different dedicated drills. I'm pretty sure you know who's going to improve, at a faster rate, correct? It's not just about going out and swimming. If you're doing dedicated drills and you have a process and you have dedicated practice and you're training and you're getting a coach and you're tracking your performance, like when I was learning, practicing golf and improving in golf, for those of you who are in golf, I went from a 22 handicap to a 8 handicap pretty quickly. For those who know golf, it's pretty significant improvement. I would go out and practice, and every single time I practiced, I would journal what worked and what didn't work. I would recognize the patterns of what worked, what didn't work. And I improved really, really quickly by just that conscious awareness. Now, question to you. How many of you consciously practice your messaging and marketing? It's a pretty key. Like, I know a lot of you probably do programs and courses. A lot of you have taken, have read business books, listening to podcasts, all those different things. Not many people have. The proportion of importance your messaging and marketing needs to be reflective of what you have in your calendar. And not many people have dedicated time in their calendar to improving the skills of messaging and marketing and then implementing it, right? That's what I'm looking to change. That's what I'm looking to do here. Now, truth be told, I don't know if this is actually what people want. I know it's what they need. I don't actually know if it's what people want, which is why I'm using your engagement, your attendance, your feedback as a little bit of a guide as to, is this actually what you want? I know once you come in, you're going to understand why you need it, but this is what I'm testing. And we have 26 people, I think, on the call. So good attendance. Well done, everyone. This gives me feedback if this is more of what you want. So I want to provide this space for you each and every week where you have it in your calendar and you're like, I'm going to go in here and improve the things that matter to me, improve the things that matter to my business. Make sense? We're going to be working on a few key things, but I'm going to be learning as I go and relying on your feedback as to what's most helpful. We're going to be doing a mixture of the foundational things that I know many people need. So kind of like when you're learning, like even the best professionals in any sport, any discipline, do they study and maintain the foundations? Correct. Right. It's not like, I don't know how many of you know basketball. It's not like Steph Curry goes, I've got shooting down pat. I don't need to practice that anymore. Or I know how to dribble now. Don't need to practice that anymore. No, it's every day you're practicing the foundations, the fundamentals. So we're going to be practicing the foundations and the fundamentals along with a mixture of strategies and skills that are new, because some things need testing and tweaking. Some things are new. Some strategies are new, right? So I'm going to be bringing in experts of different disciplines. I've already talked to a few of them. Ken's here, Jenny Erickson. I've got my friend Johan, who's an expert in AI. I've got people of different disciplines to also come in for some of the calls, just to give you a nuanced, perspective of what's working, what's not working. But I'm looking for your feedback as to what matters most, what you enjoyed, what was most helpful. Okay. That's because I'm building this from the ground up. I've got a lot of feedback from people in my group intensives, which is why I'm doing this, because they found it so helpful. But ongoing feedback is needed. So your first action step is to add next week's call to your calendar. Now, if you hate me and you hate my accent and you say, hey, this really isn't aligned, sure. Don't add it to your calendar. That's all good. However, if you are dedicated to growing your business and you know that messaging, marketing, creating offers, improving your delivery are what matter most, then add it to your calendar. Dedicate yourself to it. At least, dedicate yourself to at least four calls. Implement the strategies, grow your skill set. And if at the end of a month or so, it doesn't improve, you're not getting the results or doesn't align, whatever, sure. You don't have to continue. However, dedicating yourself to a certain time to see if this actually resonates with you and if you actually get really good results, dedicate yourself to a sample of time where you can actually judge if it's good or not, right? So these calls are going to be every week. I've scheduled them for 90 minutes, an hour and a half, because I know there's going to be plenty of discussion and plenty of, I guess, back and forth, plenty of, Q&A and these sort of things. So before I move on to an exercise, one thing I'll share is I'll be dedicating these calls and some of them where you can bring in your message and we can actually do some spotlight coaching. We can get some feedback. You can do all these different things because I think that's just what's going to help people most. Implement the skills, go out and test it. I'll give you an action item. And as you go through, learning what works, what doesn't work, I want you to bring your message into this group. I might even open up a separate chat, a group chat specifically for these marketing mastermind calls. So we can share our message, we can give feedback, all these different things. I don't know. I'm just wanting to build the resources that are most helpful for you because so many people are doing, I guess, more passive marketing, more passive marketing in terms of you may be creating some posts, maybe some promotional posts, maybe doing content, maybe you're sending an email, an email blast each week. You're jumping on each other's podcasts, joining collaborative calls, these sort of things. So you're probably doing a lot of more passive marketing, whereas I think what's needed more than anything is more like real active marketing where you're working on your message and you're asking people if they're interested. You're actually going out and you're asking people. You're not just sitting back and putting out a post and waiting for a response and then no one comments and then you're like, oh, that didn't work. Like you're actively going out and you're getting conversations going. You're building relationships with people. You're seeing what they need most and you're delivering in creative and unique ways. That's active marketing. Because many people say, oh, I don't have many clients and I've only had, 4 leads in the last month. And I'd ask, how many people did you ask? Like, how many people did you actively ask, hey, would you like to join me in this thing? And they say, oh, not too many. I'm like, well, that's probably why. How many people are you actually asking if they're interested in your stuff and if they would like to join you on whatever no-brainer offer or whatever free resource you're building for them? You know what I mean? So I know that's scary. And I know it can bring up a lot of insecurities and fears and doubts. But that's what this journey is. This journey is you getting outside your comfort zone, being able to be of service in bigger ways so that you can also heal all of those patterns within yourself, right? Anyone recognizing that you're growing your business is your biggest mirror? Growing your business is the mirror that reflects what you need to see within yourself. And so when you work on your messaging and your marketing and you're getting your message out there in a bigger way, that stuff's going to come up. And so I'm giving you the option to go on the journey with us as a group for the accountability, the support, but also so that you can be out there and serve more people. You can actually, be of service to people in ways that are really fulfilling and where you feel like you're really going down the path of your soul's calling. Yeah, that's what we want for people. So before I move on, do we have any questions? Questions, queries, comments from the group in terms of the structure, in terms of what these calls are, in terms of what they may, how you may benefit. I've just sort of laid out everything I know up until this point, but does anyone else have any questions before we move on to some exercises? Samantha.
Hello, thank you for this, Tyson. How long is the call?
It's 90 minutes.
90 minutes. Okay. And will we be practicing in breakout groups to actually voice um our mission?
Yeah.
Is that part of your plan?
Yeah, definitely in future calls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to work out what's best. If people would love to do breakout groups, if people would love to do these sort of things, then let me know. Each week's going to be like different exercises, working on different components, different deliveries, all these different things, and so that we can get a really good variety, but sticking to what matters most. So I've definitely had to think about how breakout rooms might play a part in that. If you can shoot me a message, and if you got any ideas of how we could run breakout rooms that would be most effective, that would be great. But what I want to do is I want to do an exercise today where we focus on understanding the difference between priority problems, so problems that people can really, that people are motivated to solve, compared to compared to problems that are more broad, nebulous, and intangible, which most people market. So one thing you can share in the chat as we go along here, you all have the freedom. You can share your links, you can share your bio, you can share all these different things. But one thing I like to share along the way of this call, share in the chat the priority problems you can solve for people. We'll go over the call content first, but one thing I want us to all engage, but I want us to all collaborate as well. I want us to all improve our messaging. Then as you share your message with everyone, you can all find ways to help each other. But I want us to make sure that our message is clear first so that we actually are able to communicate it in an effective way. But I really want part of these calls to be getting to know everyone, having accountability and support, and also sharing what you're launching, sharing what you're doing, sharing how you help people. And, if you can be of support, if you can organize some collaborations, if you can jump into each other's offers and containers, that's all good. That's more of what we want, hey? So it's a combination of things. Any other questions? Questions, queries, comments? Dominic?
Yeah, I originally thought it was 60 minutes, not 90 minutes.
Okay.
So I've got to go at at 10 a.m. Melbourne time.
Mm-hmm. All good. Yeah, you'll know for the future, but also the recording is going to be on YouTube, on my podcast, these sort of things.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can listen to.
No worries then.
I actually don't know how long this is going to go for. Truth be told, I've scheduled in my calendar a chunk of time, but I just really want to use this time to be as best service to you all. And I've scheduled the 90 minutes. I'll try and pack in the 90 minutes, what helps you all most. But if you want to stay back for Q&A, I have time as well outside of that. So I just want to best be of service to you all. Any other questions, queries, comments? We're good? We sure? Everyone's head still attached? Randy, your head attached? Good. Awesome. All right, moving on. So as I said before, most people have before I get to this, let me explain. You're in business because you solve problems, yes? We're all recognizing this. That's why you have a business. It's because you solve problems for people. So most people have problems, and most people are motivated to solve those problems. When there's a match between motivated to solve a problem and you provide a solution that seems like it's a good fit, people jump into your stuff, right? This call, for example, I'm solving a problem for you, right? And I tried to design my messaging in a way that makes you feel like this is a really good option for you. Therefore, you join. When you say, oh, I've got a problem with my messaging and marketing, I'm not getting the outcomes I want. Cool, Tyson's running these things, and it seems like he's packaged it in a way that's very helpful and aligned. I'm going to join. Yes? You solve problems for people. How you describe that problem is super important. Yes? You can describe problems in a lot of different ways. And most of us, especially in the personal development, spiritual space, coaching, facilitating, maybe a practitioner, we can describe problems in ways that are very broad, very nebulous, very intangible, right? We can focus on more clarity in transition, self-love, more peace, fulfillment, right? These sort of broad, nebulous, intangible terms. The problem is that's not what motivates people, right? I use this example a lot of the times. I put it in the ebook. Is that how much would you actually pay if I had a course where the outcome was 50% increase in self-love? Would you join? And if you would join, how much would you actually pay? Not metaphorically, not, oh my God, I know how so important that is. If I actually had a course, gives you 50% more increase in self-love, would you pay $6,000 for that? $3,000? $1,200, $600, $50? Is your mind really struggling to know what resources you would delegate towards that outcome? Is your mind struggling to come up with a solution? Is your mind struggling to come up with a reason why you should dedicate time, effort, finances towards solving that outcome or achieving that outcome? Why? That's what we're going to find out. And that's what a lot of people are finding out in their experiments of running their marketing message, and no one really all that interested, correct? It's because what we want is a priority problem to solve and an outcome that's more tangible. When your outcome you're looking to help people achieve, and when the problem you're helping them solve is too broad, too nebulous, too intangible, it's very hard for the mind to dedicate resources, time, effort, finances towards solving it. Does this make sense? What we want is a priority problem to solve that's top of mind, right? It's investable, it's measurable, it's tangible. And then you want an outcome. You want to help people achieve an outcome that's tangible, and preferably an outcome that's visual. They can easily visualize an outcome in their mind's eye. When you can imagine a snapshot of success, the mind can start to dedicate time, resources, finances towards achieving it, because you actually know what that's worth to you, because you can create a snapshot in your mind. If I say, hey, the outcome is more self-love, what comes to mind? Probably not an easy snapshot, right? However, if I say to you, hey, I'm going to help you in 3 weeks, speak on stage in front of 20 people that are your ideal clients. Is that more tangible? Is that more of a specific outcome? Is that more visual? Can you imagine yourself on stage in front of 20 people? So your mind can probably dedicate resources to that. Your mind can probably dedicate, oh, this is valuable to me. It's probably worth this. Therefore, I'm willing to invest 3 weeks of my time, $600 for the investment, and whatever effort it takes, because I would love to be on stage and speak in front of 20 ideal clients. Make sense? That's what we're looking to do for you today. And throughout these calls is work on those skills to do so that when you present a message to people, they feel compelled to join. They don't just say, oh, that sounds nice. And then when you create an offer, they're like, no, that's not for me. They're like, I'm interested. Right? Making sense? And once again, it's hard for me to follow the chat while I'm doing this slideshow and everything like that. So apologize if I miss the questions. But if you do have questions, type it specifically to me. If you type it specifically to me and just tag my name, it'll come up for me specifically, and I'll be able to answer questions and follow them a bit easier. A good example of this is Joelle. Joelle's on the call. We got on a call however long ago, and you put a message together and you asked people, right? You asked them and you said, hey, are any men interested in jumping on a call and taking a challenging event in the past that you're struggling to get over? I'm going to help you reduce your emotional intensity around it to a less than a 3 out of 10. Would you be interested? So we crafted a more tangible outcome, and then Joelle sent messages to people, and she's had, 10 people say yes already. Yep. 11. You're trying to say 11? Yeah. 11 people have said yes, because we worked on the message to make it more clear and compelling. And she went out, she asked people, she went out and asked them. And I think she sent out 30 initially, 30 messages. 11 people already have said yes. I mean, this is, it just works. It just works when you work on your messaging, you put it in front of people and you ask them if they're interested. If they are interested, welcome them into your stuff. Anyway, I've got many more case studies, testimonials of people doing this, right? I had in the group intensive, for example, we had 224 people who said yes to their message. We had 24 people complete the steps, and they generate 224 engaged leads of people saying yes to their stuff. It's pretty cool, but that's what happens when you work on this consistently and then put it out there into the world. That's what we're looking to do. So yes, most people have marketing that's passive, and they have their message that's very broad, very nebulous, very intangible. This is what I like to explain to people on how to choose a priority problem. Now, I use this from the intensive, my group intensive, which was around how to run a quick win campaign, which is why at the bottom you see it's an easy win. I didn't know whether to put that in there, but it is in there because it follows the TIME acronym, so you can remember it. But what we're really looking for, when you're looking to solve problems for people and you're looking to say, is this problem too broad, too nebulous, too intangible, or is this a priority problem that people are interested in solving? You need to ask yourself, one, is this problem top of mind? Meaning, does it pass the ceiling test? If your ideal client is staring at the ceiling at night, unable to sleep, what are they thinking about? What are they thinking about the problems they want solved? What are they thinking about the outcomes that they want? Now, show of hands, who's ever stared at the ceiling at night when you're unable to sleep and you're thinking about the problems that you want to have solved, and you're thinking about the outcomes that you want to achieve, and you're thinking, if only I could just love myself more, everything else would be okay. Anyone thought that? No? Anyone thought, if only I could just have more clarity and alignment, fulfillment, if only I could just be more connected to myself, then everything else would be okay. Probably not. You're probably thinking about the bills you need to pay, the back pain that won't go away, the argument you just had with your partner, right? How you your kid won't sleep, right? There's arguments at school with your children. You know what I mean? You got the unwanted belly fat that won't go away despite dieting. You know what I mean? That's probably more top of mind. Yes? Probably more top of mind. Now, there are just some problems that are also investable. There are just some things that people are willing to invest in solving. Right? Is it a problem for that your child can't do their shoelace, can't tie their shoelace? It's probably a problem that you need to overcome. Yes. Are you going to pay for a $5,000, course so that your child can tie their shoes? Probably not. Doesn't match the investment, right? There are just some problems that are more investable. And that's what we're going to go into next, which is more along the lines of meta niches. But people are willing to pay, people are willing to dedicate time, energy, and effort for problems that are more towards the areas of life that matter most to them. Their health, right? Health and wellness, love and relationships, business and career, wealth creation, and finances. There are sub niches within that, hundreds of sub niches you can choose from, but there are just some problems, right, that are more investable than others. Now, we also have problems that are more measurable, more tangible, more external, right? Internal is how you feel. So these are your thoughts and feelings. They still matter. They can still be part of your message. We just want to lead with something that's more tangible, something that's more external. So something that's tangible, let me invite Gary in here. Something that's more tangible are problems like your belly fat, you can't get enough leads in your business, your partner's leaving you and you're getting a divorce, all these things, right? Tangible. They're external, they're an experience compared to self-doubt is internal, right? Sadness, internal. Feelings of overwhelm. Now, I understand there is a gray area. If you have anxiety symptoms, for example, that's something you're experiencing. Sometimes that's a little bit more tangible, right? But I like to think sometimes things are on a continuum of really tangible, really intangible, right? And you just need to ask yourself, what is it I need to gear myself more towards the things that are tangible, because that's what people really tend to think about and tend to invest in solving. Last one's a bit of a bonus, and that's something you can create an easy win for. So that follows the TIME acronym. If you're ever wondering, is this priority problem, meaningful? Is it actually a priority problem compared to a broad problem, an intangible problem? Ask yourself, follow the TIME acronym. Is it top of mind? Is it investable? Is it measurable? And can I create an easy win around it? Because if you can create an easy win and build on those wins, it's generally a really good problem to solve, right? If someone's overweight, for example, you can help them create an easy win of, hey, just start losing 1 pound a week, right? And set this easy criteria for yourself, this easy protocol for yourself that's really easy to implement, and just start seeing some results, right? Let me help you get one pro bono client. Let me help you put out one business message. Let me help you go on one date, or let me help you start 5 conversations in online dating with people who are compatible. Just easy, quick wins can build, you can create resources for them to solve. Make sense? So I like to guide people to meta niches. We all know what a niche is. Yes, a niche is an umbrella of a particular ideal client. It is a segment of the market, if you would call that. but people you're looking to solve problems for. Now, we use the word meta niches, meaning there are just there are large niches. There are large portions of the market where problems within those niches are more top of mind, investable, measurable, where they have tangible problems. So there are segments of the market where money is being spent solving problems, right? And we can delegate these towards 4 real main ones. These aren't the only ones, but 4 main ones. These are the meta niches. So love and relationships is one big meta niche. And when I say meta, I don't mean Facebook, so we all know. Meta comes from like a meta-analysis where you get analysis of all different studies and you create your own analysis of the big overarching framework. That's where we get meta niches from. So love and relationships, and sub niches within love and relationships could be things like your romantic partner, your family, your friends, communication, intimacy, conflict, like all these sub niches, all these little sub problems and outcomes that exist in the umbrella of love and relationships. You got health and fitness. Obviously, when it comes to your health and fitness, there's energy, sleep, there's tangible problems around stress, anxiety, symptoms. There's weight, there's pain, like aches and pains in your body. There's different habits like, addictions, for example, would fall under health. Finance and wealth creation. So income, debt, spending, home ownership, investing, business and career. Sub-niches could be your work direction, leadership, promotions, clients, scaling your business. And there are hundreds that fit within these 4 meta niches. However, isn't it true, if you look at the vast majority of people who are looking to solve problems, isn't the vast majority within these categories? Yes? Yes, there are other meta niches in terms of lifestyle, in terms of hobbies, these sort of things. But the majority of the time, problems exist within these meta niches that are really important, people really wanting to solve. So you can choose a sub niche within a meta niche, and there is some criteria that helps you do that. So it really helps that they already experience a lot of pain. Now, the reason why meta niches and the guidance of meta niches works really well is because they generally, when those areas are lacking, there's a lot of pain involved, right? If you have problems in your love life and in your intimate relationships and relationship with your family, with your friends, community, if you're lacking that, there's a lot of pain. When you achieve wins within that, there's a lot of pleasure, correct? Same with your health and wellness, your business and career, finances and wealth creation. There are just problems and outcomes that really matter most to people. So I look at a message, when I look at a message and I'm seeing what someone's promoting, I'm like, can it easily fit in a meta niche? If not, there's generally a real lack of motivation to solve the problem and achieve the outcome. So in choosing a sub niche, you need to ask yourself, does this sub niche of people, do they have means to invest? If I was to say, hey, I'm going to help busy CEOs, I'm going to help them because every day we're going to get on a call for 60 minutes and it's 7 days a week. And I'm going to get them to do 3 hours of homework every day, and they're going to solve this problem. It's obviously not going to happen, right? There's a mismatch. Correct? Or if you've got a $5,000 program or a $15,000 program, and you're like, I'm going to help students. I'm going to help college students for X, Y, and Z. They probably don't have the money, right? it's probably a niche where they don't have an immediate 15 grand to invest in whatever problem, correct? So you just want to make sure, have a loose question in the back of your mind of saying, do these people actually have the time, energy, and finances to solve this problem in the ways that I'm looking to solve it for them? And are they easily accessible? You want to clearly choose people to solve problems for that are generally in your audience, or you generally know about them. You can easily reach out to them. They're easily accessible to you. Generally, right? You don't want to go, oh, I think I'm going to help nurses. I'm going to help nurses with X, Y, and Z. I'm going to help them with their shift work and with their better sleep and their better recovery and all these things. And I'd say, do you know any of them? No. You're probably best off choosing people who are already in your network, already part of your ecosystem. So we can do an exercise right now. I just want you to write down, and we'll open for a bit of Q&A and these sort of things, but I want you to put pen to paper, and I just want you to write down some of the problems you solve for people, and some of the problems that are priority problems that mostly fit the time criteria in terms of they're top of mind, investable, measurable. And even if you want to experiment, ask yourself the question of, what tangible problems could I solve within a sub meta niche? So meaning, I know a lot of you focus on the inner work, right? Maybe you're a coach, therapist, facilitator of some kind, probably focusing on a lot of inner work, a lot of patterns, traumas, these sort of things, probably helping subconscious patterning, whatever. Ask yourself the question of, what could be? Just brainstorm. You don't have to do anything with it. Just brainstorm. What could be some problems I can solve within the meta niches? What problems could I solve for people in the world of their health and wellness, in the world of their love and relationships, in the world of health, wealth and finances, right? In their business and career? What could I help them solve? What could I help them achieve? Just to brainstorm, get some ideas going. While you're doing that, feel free to open up for questions, Q&A. We're going to go do other exercises as well that are going to be fun. But while people are writing down questions, or while people are writing down their answers to the question, does anyone have anything for me specifically around this content? Feel free to unmute. Jeff.
Tyson, can I ask you a question, Tyson?
Go for it.
This is very important. I have changed my messaging a bit, etc., focusing on SME business owners, and I spoke to a very high-profile coach, and she said, "You're making a huge mistake." She said, "If I was you, I'd just target one industry, because then you can really focus 100% on it. You've got a bit of an advantage rather than, be a fixer for everyone." So I've been sleeping on it the last 2 or 3 days. I haven't come up with one industry that I know back to front and I'm passionate about, and I'm still 50-50 what to do.
Mm-hmm. So are you asking for sort of ideas?
Yeah, no, I'm just interested in if you were in that position, starting a business, for example, or doing a business, do you think both options got pluses and minuses?
What industries you're thinking about?
Well, for example, trades.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many, in terms of other industry, there's not one industry I know really well. Like, I know the sport industry well, but I couldn't make a living out of that. I could choose e-commerce, which I know a little bit about. I worked for 2 e-commerce companies, but I just think that I'm taking a huge risk of pigeonholing myself. So I'm still sitting on the fence, not sure.
Yep. What you could do is experiment. So this is what a lot of people in that realm of, which path do I go down? And so what I've been guiding people to that's worked really well is running quick win campaigns, meaning if you were to choose one of them that you feel like you can reach out to, you feel like you have access to, and you feel like there's a level of there's a need, there's like a problem that you can solve, and you can help them create a quick win of some kind. You can create a quick win campaign where you bring in those people, you create a message, you bring in those people to solve a meaningful problem and achieve a quick win. But therefore, you don't have to. And if you can solve that problem for people within a 10 to 21 day period, and that is something that is, something they're willing to dedicate some time to, and you can either do it as a group or do it one-on-one, but you're running an experiment where you're saying, hey, this person, if I run some free training, if I run a free resource, if I do some group calls, if I do something to help you solve this problem and achieve this quick win, would you be interested? There's a way in which you can bring people in and experiment with solving problems for them, but without boxing yourself in long term.
Okay. Just let me say 2 points. Number one, there is one business coach who dominates the business coaching trade, but he's retiring soon, right? I'm a very honest and upfront guy. I don't think I know enough about the trades industry, the pay rates, and where they're leaking money. I'd have to do a lot of research.
Yep.
In the last few weeks, have thought up a brilliant ebook. I know ebooks are dying because you can write it on AI in 30 minutes, right?
Yep.
But what I was thinking of doing a general ebook, testing that, and then bring out 3 specific ebooks for trades industry, e-commerce industry, and let's say import distribution industry, and test the market.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would do. I would test. Now, whether you want to do it with ebooks, whether you want to invite people into a particular group training, whether you want to, the delivery, do a delivery that makes sense where you can actually help them achieve a quick win. But, you want to test. And
but if I did trades, I'd have to really learn a lot. I'd have to put in a month to learn all about the industry because
yep.
I've never been a plumber, electrician, or ran a business like that. So I do know, I'm a handyman. I know a bit about it. So
yep.
I wouldn't go out there being a business advisor until I was. So that's what worries me. I'd have to put in a month of work to actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily do that. One thing you can ask yourself is, what's a problem you can solve for them?
Yeah.
That's a specific problem. So you don't have to know absolutely everything about the trade industry, but something that you can solve for them, that you know enough about.
Yeah.
And just solve that problem to give them some momentum.
Yeah, I think I know quite a lot about where they're wasting money on having to go back and redo a job, underquoting. So I know quite a bit,
yeah.
But I'd have to do, just a little bit of research, and I could do it. I reckon.
Yeah. I'll shoot you a message. I think there's a few ideas there you can run with.
It's a very interesting topic, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tyson.
Oh, good. Anyone else have any tips, guidance for Jeff, who's in this scenario?
Is there anybody on the line doing a specific industry?
Well, let's type in the chat. What are some problems? What are some priority problems you're coming up with? Let me open up the chat here. What are some priority problems that are top of mind, investable, measurable, that you can solve for people, or that, even if you're not solving them right now, you think you could solve as an experiment? Let's type those in the chat. Let's see what you got here.
So you want us to put in problems we're facing at the moment?
No, problems that you can solve for people.
Oh, solve?
Yeah, problems you can solve for people. Problems that are tangible, measurable,
Okay.
Top of mind, investable, measurable. Even if it's part of a meta niche. Let's see what people come with. So Ida says loneliness. So loneliness would be intangible. So my question to you would be, this is a key question people can ask for themselves if they're struggling with this. Think of an intangible problem. For example, loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling. Ask yourself, for people who feel lonely, for people struggling with loneliness, what is a more tangible problem that manifests because they're lonely? For example, if they're lonely, they could be overeating, right?
Well, I tell you what, I could solve their problem in 1 minute.
Of loneliness?
If they're single, yeah, 100%.
Well, it depends what their outcome is. What's the outcome? Is the outcome finding a love partner? Is the
No,
outcome finding a community?
I've joined a singles group 50 plus. It's the greatest group I've ever heard of or been involved in 68 years.
There you go.
And everyone, their whole life has changed. Everyone.
Beauty.
I had 42 people on Saturday night and they said, Jeff, you're the greatest person I've ever met. You've changed my life.
Cool.
Tyson?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah, sorry. I had put something a little bit earlier in the chat for Jeff, just some of my thoughts. So I just wanted to make sure that he would have seen them.
Okay, Jeff, Lorna's typed in the chat for you. So maybe you guys can connect and find some solutions here.
Lorna says, what can they be? What's the word? All right.
Yeah, there's another one up there as well that kind of.
All right, I'll save the chat.
Tyson was talking about.
Cool. Anyone else have any questions, queries, comments regarding coming up with tangible problems?
Tyson, real quickly, what was the E in your time thing? I was trying to find that with the time criteria.
It was easy, quick win. So if it's a problem, you can create an easy, quick win for.
Easy, quick win. Okay.
Yeah.
Tyson, so I'm thinking along the lines of, so a lot of parents of neurodivergent children will be experiencing guilt and not doing enough. So a lot of them will have physical pain.
Okay.
But what do I need to be like? Do I need to say, fibromyalgia, or do I need to get down to something really specific, or can I say physical pain?
You can test it. This is about, this is an art form. It's like, okay, well, aches and pains could be is a tangible problem. Could you be more specific? And the question is more specificity, does it add more potency to the message? Does it add more clarity and confidence and make it more clear and compelling? Right? That's the question. Are you going to get more people interested because you go that specific, or will you get more people by keeping it to aches and pains, for example? And we don't know. We will need a test, but it's worth the question. So you're asking the right questions of saying, okay, can I go even more specific with this thing? Right? That's something you play with. That's something you can use, you can workshop a little bit, but then you'll need to experiment with your audience.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, Tyson, you got me thinking. Sorry.
Hang on, who's talking? Ida.
Yeah, loneliness. So how it appears is, I think it becomes really intense during holiday periods where people have no one to travel with, and that's when it becomes intense. They've got these places they want to go to, but not someone that they can travel with.
Yeah.
So what I do is, with my work, by tapping into people's authentic passion, they start building the people around them, or creating a community around them who are genuinely interested in what they're interested in. Then suddenly they've got people to do things with on holidays.
Yep. Cool. So Loneliness is a feeling. Not having a partner is a tangible problem, right? So that's how I would describe it. Not having a partner
Or friends. It's more friends in my case.
as well. So not having a
Yeah.
partner and or not having close friends is a tangible problem, which leads them to feel lonely. So people who are putting together a message, one way you can think about it is you have a tangible problem, which makes you feel an intangible feeling. So you don't have a partner or any close friends, tangible problem, which makes you feel lonely, right? You don't have leads in your business, which makes you feel helpless, right? You don't know you're about to get fired from your job, which makes you feel X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? It may be a good healthy habit for everyone to raise their virtual hand if we can bring some formality. So Tracy.
Hi, Tyson. Thank you. I think my issue is probably similar to most other people's, and it is around like, so I'm both a therapist and a health, wellness, life, and mindset coach. So, like a lot of what I do is focusing on mental health, emotional well-being, and physical health. And I keep jumping from like, which one am I most passionate about? Which one do I want to focus on? And I think you might remember I used to focus on supporting parents of LGBTQIA plus parents. I still do some of that work, but that's not where my marketing is directed. It wasn't bringing me enough clients to run a sustainable business. So I still do that work, but I want to work more in the health and wellness, emotional and physical health and wellness space.
Yep.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, my question
I
would
did
be
put my pain, my problem things in the chat, which was struggling to sleep, improving energy, releasing pain, physical pain, healing emotional pain, healing inner child, releasing shame, guilt, and regret. There's some ideas that I had.
Cool. Releasing shame, guilt, and regret is internal. Heal inner child, intangible, and healing inner child stuff. Once again, who's staring at the ceiling?
People don't understand it.
Exactly. So there's a very big difference between what you will promote up front and what they'll do inside your program. Inside whatever you're running. Very, very big difference. So improve energy is a little bit more tangible. Sleep is more tangible. Waking up feeling more rested is pretty tangible outcome. Release pain, like physical pain, obviously is a tangible thing. So you've got some stuff here. What I will highlight for people, because a lot of people are doing inner work, inner child stuff, whatever it is. Not many people are staring at the ceiling at night saying, I need to heal my inner child, right? So why are we putting that in our upfront message? Right. First of all, not many people know
and I don't, but that's why I wanted to say it out loud to you.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking to you specifically.
I know there's somewhere to go from that.
I'm talking about in general. There's a overall overarching theme here, and that is that many people put in their upfront message what people either one don't want, two don't know they need. However, they do need it most. So we all know we need the inner work. We all know we need inner emotional healing, right? Show of hands. Who's with me? We all know we need that, yes? If that's the case, it's a real clear distinction between what we need most and also what people think they need. We need to promote upfront what they think they need and the problems that are top of mind for them to bring them into your world where you can actually do what matters most. You can actually give them what they need. So the way I like to create the distinction is you have the billboard. So imagine a big billboard in front of foot traffic. So the busy sidewalk. Everyone's walking. You got this big billboard. What you put on the billboard is not inner child work, right? You're not going to say, hey, walk into my store. We're doing inner child work, because no one's saying to themselves, if only I could just do deep inner child work, I'm going to be okay. If only I could just solve problems for my inner child, I'll be all right. No one's thinking that way. Well, very few, right? Not the majority of people. They're thinking, hey, I've got back pain. Hey, I can't sleep. Hey, my child's doing X, Y, and Z. So therefore, that's what you put on the billboard, right? They got physical pain. So you've written here, releasing a physical pain. So you're going to say, hey, if you're struggling with neck pain, back pain, hips and knees, aches and whatever, come into my store. They're going to be like, oh my God, my back's been killing me, So they walk into the store. Once they're in your world, once they walk into your store, you do the deep inner work that matters most, that they didn't know they needed to do, but that's what gets them the result. So what you do in your store is different to what you put on your billboard. Make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the big distinction I'm helping people with, is when what you put on the billboard is a priority problem and or a tangible visual outcome. Once they go into your store, then you can deliver on what really matters most. Sometimes it'll be a match, but it'll only be a match if the delivery that you have is what they know they need. So for example, a massage parlor, people know, oh my God, I need a deep massage. I need a therapeutic deep massage here. I know that helps. So that when they see that on the billboard, they're like, I know I need that, therefore I'm going in. For most people's messages, it's not that. And the biggest discrepancy in the engagement and leads and clients you're getting is because there's too much of too much on the billboard of what they don't know they need, they don't know they're struggling with. You've put too much of what's meant to be in the shop on the billboard. So therefore, not many people are interested.
So what should go on my billboard then?
On your billboard?
Yeah.
Anything. Like you could do physical pain, you could do sleep. You could ask yourself the question, anyone who's struggling with inner child work, if they've got deep emotional pain, if they're struggling with shame, regret, and guilt, what would be more tangible problems that manifest because of that? Right? So if I'm dealing with shame and guilt of something in the past, what are some more tangible problems that would manifest, especially in the meta niches, because I'm dealing with that? For example, if you have shame and you have guilt, what are some tangible problems that manifest in my health? Right? Addictions, overeating, distracting myself, whatever. What about in my relationships? Am I choosing the wrong partner because of my shame and guilt? Am I fighting with my partner? Do I have a dysfunctional relationship with my kids? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if I have guilt and shame? What tangible problems manifest because in my finances or in my business, right? In my career. So these could be some messages you could run by people. And as you run the message by people that says, hey, I'm thinking of solving this thing by running this free workshop, training, PDF, ebook, email sequence, whatever the delivery is. I'm thinking of solving these problems for these people and helping them achieve these outcomes. Would you be interested? And it creates doorways into your work, right?
Okay.
The analogy I use, it's like the physical store. You've got your physical store and you transform lives in there, but no one knows where the door is. No one knows how to get in. I had people in my intensive, they said, yeah, I do that. And sometimes I just keep moving the door to make it hard for people. But really, when it comes to, when it comes to your messaging and your marketing, you're just creating a doorway, an easy doorway for people into your work. Like, for example, if you love helping people create transformations with their shame, guilt, and regret, and you help them release that, and that's your zone of genius, you could run a campaign, an ebook, a training, a workshop, or something where you'll say, hey, if you've got these challenges in your relationship, because you've identified when they have shame and guilt, they have these challenges in their relationship. So you're like, hey, I'm going to promote these challenges in the relationship, whether it's fighting, whether it's resentment, whether it's stonewalling, whether it's separation, lack of intimacy. And you're saying, hey, if you have lack of intimacy in your relationship, I'm going to be running this free training that's going to show you how to do X, Y, and Z and achieve this quick win. Would you be interested? And people are like, yeah, 100%. I'm struggling with this. I'd love help. If you're doing a free training, I'm in. You create a doorway into your work. Now you don't have to do that, run that message all the time. You can if you want, but you have another option. You could say, okay, cool. Now I'm going to help people in this training who are struggling with overeating. Because I know when people are dealing with shame and guilt, they don't like themselves, right? They don't respect themselves, all these things. They tend to overeat. They tend to have maybe a drinking problem, maybe whatever. Yeah. Right. So I'm going to help people do that. And you're just creating doorways into your work. So then when they go into your shop, into your workshop, your group calls, your program, your training, your whatever, they start to realize, oh, Tracy helps me with all these emotional blockages, this healing, this inner child work, all this other stuff. She can help me with other things, right? She can help me with these methods, modalities, and strategies. It's just you brought them into your world because you marketed a problem that they care about. Mm-hmm. Now, many of you may be thinking, why don't people get confused? I'm inviting them into this thing because of relationship and of health and of whatever. People aren't stupid. You like if Tracy was to say, look, I help people over the overarching world of mental and emotional health, and I invite them into these different workshops, I'm not going to be like, too confusing, I'm out of here. I'm going to be like, cool, like you're helping them achieve this quick win and this quick win. It's all under the umbrella of emotional healing. But there are many things that manifest, many problems that manifest as a byproduct of unprocessed emotions. Right? You're just providing doorways for people to experience your work. And if you could run a training where you have 8, 12, 14, 18 people jump into a group call, group training, whatever, all to solve these problems within their relationship and resolving it with emotional healing, that'd be pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what can happen when
awesome.
You create a message, put it out to people, like we're saying with Jeff, put it out to people, run the message by people, see if they're interested. And if they're interested, cool, you get to build something for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Awesome.
Ida, you have another question?
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you. I've become really clear about who I'm helping and what it looks like for them in a tangible way. The fact that they're frustrated that nobody gets them and nobody quite understands their emotions. Then through working with me, even after one session, they get clear about what their values are and they're able to connect with those people who will understand them better. So, and then that starts, as I've seen happen so many times with clients and myself, it just builds a community around, and then all of a sudden their social calendar is full and they're fully booked.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you so much. It does. It's like magic. I've got to head off now, but thank you so much. I'll be back next week.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, all, I have an exercise for us all, but before I move on to that, I'll give you a tangible takeaway. Every time we run these, I want to have a tangible takeaway. And that tangible takeaway for you is to craft a message, find a priority problem you're interested in helping people solve and ask 5 people. That's a tangible takeaway. Send them a personal message and say, hey, I'm thinking of helping people with this priority problem. Thinking of helping people with this. I'm thinking of building resources to help people with this. What are your thoughts? Run it by someone that's part of your network that's warm. People who like, know, and trust you. But just run the idea by them. Run the idea by them. Says, I think I'm helping people in their, solving these arguments in their relationship. I'm thinking of helping people with this problem of bloating after meals. I'm thinking of helping these people who are really struggling with saving. What are your thoughts? Would you be interested? What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that'll help people? Is that doable? Run your idea by a couple people. Just get the message out there. The idea isn't to have this home run message. The idea is to build the muscle of actually putting an idea in front of people. That's where the real muscle is. Ken.
I was just listening and thinking about how often we can have a little bit of a disconnect where we forget that the potential people we can help don't know what we know. So, and the best metaphor for it I ever heard was 92% of all adults who experience back pain, there's one thing that's caused 92% of them to have a relief of those symptoms, and it was replacing their mattress. So a lot of people aren't thinking about their mattress that they've been sleeping on for 20 years. They're thinking about all the other exercise or chiropractic or medication or whatever else. And they just don't know that there's that strong of a correlation between those things unless someone tells them, right? So a lot of times I think as we're thinking about our problem and then our unique solution, we're not misleading them by identifying the problem and then offering a solution. We're educating them to the fact that we have a solution they just may not have known existed for them. And if it works, they're going to be so grateful.
Yeah.
So it just struck me. That's like
Ken,
an important thing.
have you got a statistic on that where medical research has been done?
It is a not quite anecdotal. They never did one specific study, but through a lot of years, there's just been, and it's really something that's been more brought to the mind for things like business and marketing. But, as they've interviewed people and they've done these various studies for various reasons, that's something that kept coming up is pretty much 92% of adults, in the context of a survey. Now, it's not going to work for everyone, and it's not saying it fixed their back. What it's saying is they had a relief of symptoms.
Yeah, well,
so,
I'll give you my honest opinion. I'd be very careful with that. Unless, because my friend, he's got a PhD overseas, does medical research, and he doesn't touch anything unless tests have been done and all that sort of stuff. So I'd be very careful telling people about 92% because, to be honest, I don't think it's true.
Well, I think regardless of whether it's true, and if you look at like the businesses, there's companies out there like there's one that I know of called Helix. What they'll do is their marketing is around helping you select a mattress that could help, and then they give you a 90-day guarantee.
Yeah,
so
but
they're saying if it doesn't help you, we'll pay it back.
Yeah, but that's different to telling people 92% of your back problem is your mattress. So anyway, and
I don't want you to miss the point. The point is that there a lot of people don't know that they could experience some relief, from a source that they may not have considered. So whether it's a mattress or walking or
actually, I'll just tell you another interesting thing on that topic. I keep getting headaches. And for a couple of years, I went to my doctor. He says, I know exactly what your problem is. You've got the wrong pillow. Now, that is 100%. So you pay $150, you go to a special shop, it fixed it forever, right? There's no statistics, but that's a GP's been working 40 years and he knows that's 98% of people's problems with getting migraines, having a shit pillow. But anyway, it's a good topic.
Yeah.
I think the main thing you're saying here, Ken, is the education around the message is, so regardless of the 92% or whatever, even if you are careful with stats, the main message, I think what you're saying here, Ken, is that you want to educate people around your method, modality, strategy if they're not aware of it, if they're completely unaware of, they're considering other options and they haven't considered their mattress yet, that could be part of your messaging. And it's a really empowering and powerful way to do it, because when you can highlight mistakes people are making that they don't know they're making, like they're going to chiropractors, going this, going that, and nothing's working for, 12 months, 18 months, 3 years, whatever, and you provide a solution that they haven't thought about yet, you're now the thought leader. And if you can create a no-brainer offer where you say, hey, try this mattress for 90 days, see if your symptoms improve, and if not, you can have your money back.
But also, if you could find a manufacturer that actually has some sort of testing piece of equipment or something that can actually do a test on you. I don't know if that's possible, but that'd be fantastic. Like, sleep apnea, they do tests on you, but if they could test and give you results, that would be fantastic. Yeah.
Another even simpler one that, removes all that is people don't buy drills, they buy holes in their wall. And if they don't need a hole in their wall, they're not going to have an interest in the drill being the solution now, no matter how fancy and amazing it is. Yeah. So it's really just thinking, what is their need? And then recognizing the fact that your unique solution just may not have occurred to them yet. Yeah. So, and that's all that, that was designed to kind of point out.
Hey team, we're going to go on to a brief exercise. I won't go into the whole thing because we're running out of time, and I'll spend time with Q&A if people want to work on specific things. But if you all want to gauge back to the slides, I've got one thing I want to do with these calls is allow you to practice the skills. So a lot of people try and learn, but it's kind of like learning how to swim by reading about it. Not very helpful, right? You have to get in the water and you have to do the drills, do the exercises, correct? So I want to provide just brief, short exercises where you get to think about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of an exercise where you get to do some drills around your messaging and marketing. So this is an exercise I call Find the Priority Problem. What we're going to do, I'm going to bring up, I used Claude to create just random problems people can solve. What we're going to do is we're going to choose the problem that is listed that is most a priority problem. So, for example, I'm going to bring up different slides, and on each slide there's going to be 3 problems. You're going to type in the chat and tell me which one is most a priority problem, meaning it's most tangible, most investable, most measurable. Right? Makes sense? So the way I want to run this is you're going to type in the chat, the Zoom chat, which one is most priority problem, and then I'll tell you when to press enter. Make sense? So let's just do a dummy one to start with. So here's 3 problems: feeling unfulfilled in life, struggling to get podcast guests, wanting more balance in business. Now, these are 3 problems people can describe that they solve for people. Question is, which one is more a priority problem? Which one's more tangible, more measurable, more investable? So you're going to type in the chat, you're going to type a number, and then I'll tell you when to press enter. Make sense? So type a number, 1, 2, or 3 in the Zoom chat and press enter now. What do we think? Most people say 2. Correct. I would agree. Now, I'll be honest. I didn't do this. I didn't create this exercise with like real clear answers because I want there to be some kind of thought, some kind of thinking. I want there to be some kind of, I don't want to be super easy. And maybe sometimes there'll be 2 that are priority problems, and you just have to choose which one was probably more a priority problem. But yes, feeling unfulfilled in life is probably pretty broad. Yes, pretty nebulous. Unfulfilled is a feeling. Struggling to get podcast guests is pretty tangible. Would you agree? Most of you agree here. Pretty tangible. People like, I don't know how to get podcast guests. I need guests for my show in the next 4 days. Don't know how to do that. And wanting more balance in business, yeah, it could be. It's in the meta niche of business. But what is balance? What is more balance? What does that look like? Right? Is it balance with work-life balance? Is it balance within? You need to balance out your calendar and your clientele. Are you balancing more of your team? Like, what is that? So it's a bit more broad. All right, next one. So, exercise. Okay, not feeling confident on camera. Lack of direction in their business. Losing 5 hours a week to manual invoicing. Have a think. Which one's more top of mind, measurable, tangible, investable? Which one's more a priority problem? All right, type enter. Most people saying 3. Cool, I would agree. Losing time. Not feeling confident on camera is pretty clear, right? It's very clear. But once again,
if you don't have direction in their business, you don't have a business.
Very true. Very true. But what is direction? It's pretty broad, right?
Well, if you don't have any strategies or a business plan or anything like that, you got nothing.
Yeah. So a business plan would be more like, for example, if I was to say, hey, I'm going to help you overcome confusion in your business, and we're going to create a business plan to get you to X, Y, and Z in 18 months.
Yeah.
That's more clear and compelling, right? But
well,
lack of direction, pretty broad.
Yeah, that could mean anything, but I assume it means that you don't have a plan.
Exactly. Now, assumptions. Now, a lot of people, we did this exercise in the group intensive, and a lot of people would say, hey, this is implied or this is assumed. And we don't want to assume anything. We don't want to assume the market and our clients and our, community members know what we mean. We want to be very clear and have something that's compelling, right? So when you have direction could mean many things for many people.
Yeah.
We don't want to have them assume anything. But yeah, if you want to be compelling and clear around a business plan that solves this specific problem and gets you this win or this outcome, that'll be more clear.
Anyway, if you put a gun to my head and said, what's like a direction, I'd say it's no strategy or business plan.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Next one. So problem. Wanting to feel healthier, not feeling like yourself, or struggling with bloating after every meal.
Yeah, well,
let's type in the chat. 1, 2, or 3. You can press enter now.
Number 2 is difficult to understand, but
Yep, I would agree. What is like yourself? Wanting to feel healthier is pretty common as to what people would say, but healthier is pretty broad. Not feeling like yourself is way too nebulous, right? Struggling with bloating after every meal is more tangible. Would we agree? It's like anyone who struggles with bloating after a meal, they're, that's top of mind.
That could be fixed tomorrow with my gastrologist.
Yeah, I know it could be. The exercise is just solving. Yeah. The exercise is just recognizing which one is more a priority problem. Next one, and then we'll finish up. So, repeatedly attracting emotionally unavailable partners.
Oh God!
Lack of connection and passion in the relationship, or unable to get a second date.
Well, I'll put $1 million on that I'm correct. Okay.
Who gets the money?
No, just hypothetically.
Type in the chat. Let's press enter. 1, 2, or 3. Now, I don't necessarily have an answer for this one. I would say repeatedly attracting emotionally unavailable partners is pretty clear, pretty compelling. Yes.
Yeah, that can be easily fixed.
Yep. Lack of connection and passion. So lack of connection and passion is pretty broad. Like a lot of people would mark towards that, but it's pretty broad. Pretty.
Yeah. But if you don't have that, you won't have a relationship and it won't be a good one. So forget about it. You'll stay single.
Yep. And then unable to get a second date.
I wish that was my biggest problem in life.
Unable to get a second date.
That's easy to fix. If the woman doesn't want a second date, you just get rid of her.
Jeff, you're very opinionated in this.
I do stand-up comedy.
Question, everyone.
Tyson.
Yep.
Tracy here. I had a thought on this one because I almost said number 3 because it's really specific, unable to get a second date. And then I realized, like, who's going to pay a lot of money just to get a second date? Like, what about the 3rd and the 4th and the actual relationship? Yep. So I went for 1.
Now, people probably won't pay a lot of money to learn how to get a second date, but if that's a quick win, or if that's a free, like something you can achieve for free, and you can help them get a quick win to land a second date, or even a first date, then a second date, there's going to be probably some momentum being built where they can invest in something else where you're like, hey, let's keep them around. Let's learn how to build intimacy, build connection, build rapport, build all these different things so that you build your wins over time.
Actually, you'd be surprised how much money men pay dating agencies to get first, second, and third dates. Thousands.
Especially later in life.
Yes.
Especially later in life.
Yes.
That was my point, though. First, second, and third, not just second.
You pay some.
That's what I'm getting at.
You pay between
anyway,
5.
Just.
Yeah. Ken, you got your hand raised?
Yeah, I found number 3 very compelling. And it was funny. I could hear a business coach saying, what's the purpose of a first meeting? And it's to get a second meeting, period. And it's like, to me, that one's very deep, because if you're stuck in this pattern of meeting people and then not having enough of a connection, that you're able to extend it, that I think it would be very front of mind. And what I like about all of these that you brought up so far is they are easy to fix. And that's the point. When people are lost in all of the information and everything, something that gives them something they can hold on to, less bad in their life, more good in their life, that's very simple to start. Now you can move them, into a more complex problem solving or solution oriented situation from there. So, but I was just imagining the pain someone would feel of time after time having just that one date.
Yeah.
And I agree with Jeff. I think people would pay a lot of money to figure out how to fix that for themselves.
Yeah.
And, so that one really struck me right away.
Cool. Yeah. I think when it comes to these, I once again put these into AI and got to come with random examples, because I want us to do this exercise on multiple calls along with other exercises I've got planned. But it gets you to think. It gets you to be like, what one is more top of mind, investable, tangible, like what Tracy's saying. She's like, is to just get a second one, is that investable? Is it more, would they more invest in getting the first one? If they're attracting emotionally unavailable partners all the time, like what is actually the pain point there? Is it actually investable? Is it what they're thinking about when they're staring at the ceiling at night? You know what I mean? Compared to lack of connection and passion is a bit more broad and something that everyone needs. But in terms of the message you put up front, like what message would you put on the billboard is the exercise. Which one's more top of mind, investable, measurable? Which one's more a priority problem that you would put on a billboard or that you would want to test on a billboard, right? So I think it's a good exercise to just, get your brain moving a bit. And even when you're seeing marketing in the world, when you see promotional posts in the Serving Circle, when you see promotional posts in ads on Facebook, when you're walking down the street and you see a sign promoting their stuff, ask yourself the question, like, is this a priority problem? Like, what is this clear and compelling? And if not, what could be more clear and compelling? Like, use the skills and practice. Like, use it as a drill. Use it as a way for your mind to consistently think about this stuff, so that when you're crafting a message in your own business, you've got some experience. You've got there's stuff that's gone on in the background where you've now got some reference points, so that now if you're like, I'm wanting to help people with self-love, I know that's not a priority problem. I know it's not what people are asking for. So therefore, I'm going to ask myself the question of what is more tangible as a byproduct of feeling lack of self-love. Let me market to that, then bring people into my shop to start helping them with that problem. Make sense?
Yep.
We're getting to the end here. So let me go to the end slide I had. Had plenty of other options here. So action item, as I said before, identify a priority problem within a meta niche that you can solve for people, and then run that idea by 5 people. For example, you say, hey, Renee, if I create a free training or a resource to solve X, Y, and Z, would you be interested in something like that? Or I could say, hey, Adele, I'm creating a free group, or I'm creating a free resource, I'm creating a training to help people solve this. What are your thoughts? Do you think that would be helpful for people? The exercise is just to get your voice out there, ask people stuff, get conversations going around some priority problems. And if you have the priority problem that's more top of mind, measurable, investable, tangible, if you create an outcome or a quick win that's more visual, they can have a snapshot of success, then you will test it. You'll see if people are interested. You'll see if people say it's a good idea. You'll see if they're putting their dedication towards joining that call or joining that resource or downloading that, whatever. So just have that as an exercise to run it by 5 people. We can talk about it next week when we join and see how people went. But as I just mentioned, you can also just be aware of other people's marketing material and ask yourself, is this a priority problem? Are they solving priority problems right now? Are they marketing to priority problems? And if not, what could they solve? What could they be promoting? Any questions, queries, comments? Kiana, you have your hand raised.
Yes. What about having something that like no one else really has, like being more authentic than like everybody else has this or everybody else has that?
In terms of a priority problem?
Yes. Like something that you want to put out there, but for an example, you have several people that are in the same field as you are, but you want something that is more rare.
You want something that's unique.
Yes.
Yeah. So the way you differentiate yourself is either solving the problem, a priority problem that not many people are solving, or you solve problems for people that are top of mind, measurable, tangible. But even if a lot of people are solving that, you provide a unique vehicle. You provide a unique method, modality, strategy, solution. You know what I mean? That's how you would differentiate yourself, even if you're solving problems for people that are, what a lot of people solve. I mean, a lot of people are solving problems to do with messaging, marketing, right? I'm doing that now by inviting you on a group call. But I'm trying to do what I can to provide this vehicle be unique, right? And so you all have the option. We can do this on future calls as well. You have the option of promoting a priority problem. And even if it's in a market where a lot of people are trying to solve that problem and marketing towards that problem, you provide a solution or a vehicle, a method, modality, strategy that's unique. Because people will be like, oh my God, I really want to solve that. And I haven't found the solution yet. I haven't tried your option. I'm going to give it a try. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
We can talk about that in future calls. We didn't have enough time to get into it here, but I will talk about vehicles and stuff like that in upcoming calls. Cheyenne, you have your hand raised.
I do. I just wanted to say thank you because I've been struggling on verbalizing where my priority was. And out of this, I actually now have identified what I think are two very strong market niches. And so I'm going to have fun this week figuring out which one I want to focus on right now.
Cool. Choose the one that excites you the most. Choose the one that you think matches what your audience needs and what your audience feels like they really want to solve. And also the one that lights you up, one that lights you up the most, one that provides a little bit more pull for you to, be like, that would be fun. That would be real fun and real exciting for me to solve for people, because your energy is going to be the glue that puts everything together. So if you're the one that you're energized to help people solve, I would also give that some kind of weight. All right.
Cool.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Helen.
Just want to say thanks. But what's been interesting since I've been involved with you and then started sending my messages out, but I've still had that funny little thing. I wasn't quite happy, but I wrote in the chat, I belong to a group, 70 and still in the saddle. And just by reading the comments, so many people came up with a problem about mobility, getting on and off their horse, which is what I've been originally doing, but now it's even gave me just belonging to that group. And maybe because I was sending out the right energy, those people were coming up with that problem in that group without me even realizing it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, problems when it comes for mobility is a big issue for people, especially, I mean, if they love riding horses and they're struggling getting in
on and off. Is what the comment.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
So this is, and yeah, so that's going to say sometimes it might take us a while to get our niche.
Yeah.
And it might play around with some experimenting, but then if we send out those right messages, the right vibes, eventually that it'll come to us where we should be.
Yep. Yeah. Test and tweak. I mean, experiment a little bit, get some conversations going, and it starts to formulate over time. And you won't just, as you grow, how you help people is going to shift because your experience shifts. You learn more about your market. You learn what's working, what's not working with your messaging. There's just some things that, there's just things that evolve. And so allow it to evolve. Yep. Well done. All right, we'll wrap up in a minute. Anyone else have any quick questions, queries, comments?
Just on that topic, I know a lot of people like you do, Tyson, and there's people that have been in business 20, 30 years that are still experimenting with a lot of things, how to get leads, messaging. So it's a never-ending game. No one's got the perfect answer.
100%. Yeah. Well, everything changes.
Oh, I don't think that's the changes. I just think, it's just really difficult to find the right way to spend your time and money to get leads into your business. And
agreed. Everyone else clear? We're had some insights. You have any lasting questions?
I'll just want to give everyone my input from today. Are you on any US networking groups, Tyson?
A few. I don't attend many networking groups.
Well, I was in one this morning that's every Wednesday at 5 a.m., but it swaps to 7 a.m. daylight saving.
Yeah.
And then there's one at 6 a.m. And the most important output from the second one, this guy's a huge marketing guy. He's worked in Hollywood. And without doubt, I don't care what people say, email marketing is unbelievably successful. Don't listen to people who say it doesn't work anymore, because there's a lot of people who do it well. There's a guy who's got JV directory. He sends about 3 a week, and he sends it to the guy, Gary, did the 6 a.m. thing. And he said, I love him every week. Doesn't worry me. So for everyone, really think about email marketing. It is a good thing.
Cool. Yeah, maybe we'll do a call on that in the future.
Yep.
Happy to do different topics, different insights,
Yep.
different expertise from people, and yeah, different ways of putting yourself out there. And a lot of people do have email lists, so maybe.
But you've got to have the right message at the top.
Of course.
Otherwise, you'll bomb out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, everyone. I'll see you same day and time next week. Recording will be on the YouTube channel and the podcast, but give me your feedback, your ideas, your guidance. Thank you all for being here. See you next time.
Thanks, Tyson.
Thank you all.
Tyson, I just wanted to say thank you. That
Hey, pleasure.
like there wasn't, like I don't want to be the person that says I already know this, but I'm very familiar with marketing. But this is one of especially the problem is one of the things that I've been struggling with to get specific enough.
Yeah.
So I just appreciate
Just a
being
second.
here
Really
and learning what I can learn.
Pleasure.
From you and being a student instead of sometimes helping other people, because that's way easier than doing it myself.
Yeah. Agreed. Well done. Thank you all. See you next time.